Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode. Today we're going to be checking out this beautiful, beautiful thing behind me. So I picked this up not too long ago, but this is my Neo-Geo Goldie. Alright, so this is my very early, beautiful 2-slot Neo-Geo Goldie. So for those of you that don't know, this is one of the first Neo-Geos actually brought over to the United States. Very, very early, as you can tell. It's got the... some people hate it. I actually kind of like it. It's got the really cool like wood-grained side paneling on it. No big red stuff, no lettering, no stickers. I did go ahead and add these little gold Neo-Geo logos because I kind of dig them. But yeah, this is the first one over here, and it's called a Goldie again because of this kind of stuff here. The gold overlay. This is all original, so you can see it's got some lovely little cigarette burns, things like that. I did upgrade the joysticks and buttons. So when I bought this, this came from a guy over in Alabama, which is about 2 hours northwest of me, give or take. So he wanted a pretty fair price for it, but I had to drive and pick it up. Luckily, there wasn't too much wrong with it. I did have to do a repair to the motherboard where one of the CPU chips was a little messed up, had a broken trace. Luckily, I was able to find that and get that repaired and get this bad boy up and running. It's in really good shape. It's probably like an 8 out of 10. It's got a couple little dings like this in it, in the wood grain, but overall, I mean, this thing is solid. The corners are nice. No real big chips or anything like that. It's got a full coin door and everything on it here. But again, what I did is originally this came with HAP sticks or IL sticks. I can't deal with that anymore, so I actually put JLWs in here. And when I bought it, it came with red, yellow, green, blue, but originally it did have all black buttons, so I went ahead and I put this back to the black buttons. Cool thing is, these are actually the original EL panels, and they are still working. So the game that you have selected will, up here, will correspond to the panel that down here that actually lights up. This player 1 panel is kind of iffy. It lights up maybe like 75% of the time, so we are going to be doing a couple upgrades to this thing. Mostly we're going to be putting in the LED panels here behind the marquee, and then we're also, I did pick up from Szabo's arcade, I picked up a new control panel overlay that we're going to be swapping into this. If I have time, I also will be swapping out the speakers. The speakers sound okay, they don't sound great. They sound, they're not broken or distorted or anything, they're just kind of lower quality speakers. So if we have time, we'll go ahead and swap those out too. But yeah, this is it's an awesome little cab. I don't know if I have this unlocked. Let's see. We can open up our coin door down here so you guys can kind of take a look inside the beast here. Do we have it? No, I have it locked, of course. Let's go down and lock this real quick. All right, one panel done. I'm trying to keep this somewhat on track, but here we go. So we've got our panel done. Go ahead and open this up, kind of show you inside the cab. So again, I did my best to try to keep everything organized in here. I threw some wire wrap on everything to keep it as clean as possible. But you can see the JLWs kind of sitting in there. We have our original score panels, the back of the buttons and everything. All the looms and harnesses are all solid. Now what's cool about this, when I bought this, it actually only had one game in it. It came with a 161 in one. And the second player, I'm sorry, the second cartridge actually had the original SNK cardboard strip in it. So it was actually pretty cool. But again, we did have to do one little repair on this thing on the motherboard to get it up and running again. But everything is working on it. So you can see here, hopefully you can see, get that light glaring off of it, but the quality of this monitor is freaking awesome. It's such a crisp little K7000 monitor. It just looks fantastic. Super, super nice picture on it. So yeah, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and take a look at what we are going to be modifying, the new parts. I got some of them sitting over here. You can see here, here's the Szabo's CPO that we're going to be putting on here, as well as some other stuff too. So we'll go ahead and start taking this thing apart, do a little time lapse or something like that, cool for you, and we'll start swapping these things out. Let's get to it. Alright, so in order to get this control panel overlay on here, we first have to go ahead and pull the old one off. So that means that we're going to have to flip the control panel open. Every single button, so all the player start, select game, all that stuff, and all the ABCD buttons are going to have to come off. Luckily, because these are sand ones, I can just unscrew the bat tops, get those to come off, and then there is, what is there, 4, 6? There's 6 little carriage bolts here on the bottom. these all have to come out, and then once that's done, the old control panel will come off. So we're gonna go ahead and flip this thing open and start taking stuff apart. So here's what we're dealing with on the inside. The hat buttons, little micro switches kind of just come out. So you can just go ahead and pull them kind of like that. And they will, kind of hard doing this with one hand, but basically they come off like that, and then you can just go ahead and take the nut here, unscrew it, and then the buttons will come out. So we gotta do that for every single button. Pull those out, and then swap everything over. So you're gonna see a lot of that. Alright, so our buttons and bat tops have now been removed, but we still got to go ahead and remove these carriage bolts. So these are going to require some sockets, but making progress. Alright, so all of our hardware has been removed. Got all the buttons out, all of our carriage bolts out. So I think if we pull on this, it should kind of just come up. And there we go. You can see the original panels kind of over here. Again, not in terrible shape. It really just needs to be cleaned up, and I'm going to try to buff some of these things out. I am going to keep this as kind of a backup. Again, it's really not terrible, just these couple little cigarette burns and little imperfections, but we'll buff it up. But here is our panel. Again, pretty good shape. Lighting's kind of rough in here, but nice black control panel. So we're going to go ahead and unbox, unwrap that new guy, pop it on here, and kind of see how it looks. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and open this up. Again, this is from Szabo's arcade. I'll throw a link to his store down in the bottom. He's the only one making this kind of stuff for the Goldie. A couple companies make it for like the Big Red, but he's the only guy making this stuff for the Neo-Geo Goldie. Luckily, this looks pretty good. Trying not to do any damage here as I open it. That would suck, right? There's our brand new CPO. Looks really, really nice. Looks really solid. So this should just line up like before. So these are still under the control panel. Yep. Everything's good there. Should just line up. And then pretty much what we just did, we do backwards. So as you guys can see, everything lines up perfect on there. It's brand new. And I will say that now that it's actually laying down on the panel, it actually does look much closer to this original gold. When I was first looking at it in the package, it was kind of like, it looked like it was a little too like light gold, but that actually looks pretty perfect. So again, same thing we did before, just backwards. Put everything back together. All right, guys, so we are fully installed, and it came out great. This thing is pretty dang perfect, if I do say so myself. Overall, it fits really, really well. It's nice and lined up, really, you know, cut crisp for these corners, things like that. I did notice that one of the buttons up here, it's slightly off center a little bit, but it's really not that bad. Honestly, no one's going to see that unless I would point it out. But yeah, man, this thing looks great. So now that the control panel is done with our new Szabo's control panel, we're going to go ahead and focus now on what is behind the marquees, which is these. Right now they're the stock EL panels, but we're going to go ahead and swap those over to the LED kit. Much like I have in my 4-slot Big Red, we're going to swap them over. Alright, so here is the stock EL panel. You can see it's two little like EL sheets kind of held on with some electrical tape. This is all stock from SNK as far as I know. I haven't modified it in any way, but yeah, this is the original panel. And again, it does still work, but it's very, very dim. These panels are very prone to just burning out and failing, which is why most of the original Big Reds you see out in the world, they're kind of, they no longer work or they've been upgraded. But simple little panel. It kind of just rests up here on the back of the, or really on the front cab. It plugs in back here on this little think it's a 10 or 12 pin connector there. And then basically when the motherboard knows what game it's on, it tells this which panel to light up. So we're going to be swapping these out for the new LED kit. So let me go ahead and get all that stuff out and we'll check out the kit. Alright, so here is our kit. You can see when you open it up, it has our instructions. It kind of walks you through the process of plugging everything in, what you need to do. So underneath that is our actual panels. You can see all the pieces and everything. I think we got packing material, which I don't want to really deal with peanuts and stuff, so I'll go ahead and pull this stuff out and we'll put it over here in the cab and take a look at it. Alright, here's our full kit. So we've got our 2 panels, we have our little controller PCB, and then this is all the hardware like screws and nuts and stuff like that that we need. So what I'm going to do now, guys, is just go ahead and follow these instructions, kind of go through each step, kind of plug everything in. It's a pretty straightforward process. You basically just plug the old little cable here into the PCB as you see here, and then we're going to wire in each panel to these little screw terminals to tell it which one to turn on. So it shouldn't take more than a few minutes for me, which will be instant for you. So I'm going to go ahead and get this done. We'll pick it back up once we are lighting up some LED panels here on the Neo. Alright, so we have the new panels mounted. As you can see, we'll pull this little marquee off. Trying not to do that, but basically they mount kind of just like this. The little 3D printed brackets come with them, and then you run the power wires over there. And then as you can see, we have our little new board down here. Hopefully it's not too dark, you guys can see that. So now we got to take these power leads, strip the ends, plug them into the proper terminals, and then once we turn everything on, it should work. So I'm going to go ahead and get stripping into that, and we'll do a little bit of wire management. We'll pick it back up. Alright guys, so here you have it. We have our cab back up. You see we have our little LED panels lit up here. Look really, really nice with the LEDs corresponding to the game. So there we got to see the game swap. So now we're going over to Strikers 1945. You kind of see that one light up. Got our brand new Szabo's control panel overlay on it. And this thing is looking pretty damn amazing. Very, very happy with both products. So I'll be sure to throw links down there. I am not affiliated or sponsored or anything. These are just cool products that I actually enjoyed. But what we'll do is we're going to wrap this video up. Our next video is going to be a quick little update of this little guy here. My room is a mess, give me a break, but we're going to show you the new 2021 game room setup. Move some stuff around, got some new cabs in here, all that fun stuff. But we're going to get out of here with a couple glamour shots of the Neo-Geo, and we'll see you guys on the next one.